What's up everyone? My name is Optopolis. Welcome back to the channel where we explore where no one else has explored before. Today I actually want to start a brand new series called Opto's Log, where I go around and check out things that I visited on the channel in the past. For right now I want to focus on things between the years 2019 to 2024, including both of those years. And for the moment I am going to be focusing on Cheyenne stuff. For this particular video, I actually want to go back to the intro video, the original OG intro video that probably only the OGs will remember for the channel. And I kind of want to revisit all the places I did in that video, specifically in today's video. So let's go, shall we? Okay, so in the very first clip, I'm actually in my room. I will see about maybe doing like a comparison photo of then versus now. Quite a lot has changed. The sign, for instance, completely different there. I think my artwork is still up here, but you know, I know you can't see it too well on the screen, but I think you know, a lot of the stuff on the tables has changed. I didn't have crates back then to store a lot of my filming gear, among other things, and yada yada yada. Quite a lot has changed, and it's gonna take too long to like fully dissect everything that's different since this time. But we'll actually move this playhead just a little bit forward, and you can see that in this teaser we actually have the Cole Shopping Center. In the teaser here we actually have the Cole Shopping Center. Now this is actually demolished now, but we are over here right now, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like now. The U-pump, it's a little bit later on, but let's go back to the Safeway. This building used to have a fish store as well as a bank. I know it's probably going to be hard to see on the screen again, but I want to show you guys kind of roughly where this was. All right, so here we have the Blue Federal Credit Union World Headquarters. I've done a number of videos here kind of showing what it's what it looks like and things like that over the years. I think I even did a 70th anniversary, so if you want to go back and check all that out, you can. But this is the area of the Cole Shopping Center. It was completely demolished for this new facility. As part of this facility, they also built a brand new retail section, which I'll actually pan over to here in a second. Maybe just kind of spawn you guys around. Maybe I'll fade over to it. But the building that would have had the fish store would have been over in this area on the south end of the area, south end of the Blue Federal Credit Union headquarters. The Safeway actually would have been around here. It would have stood right where the parking lot for the headquarters is now, one of the parking lots. So we'll go ahead and drive over there now and show you guys what that looks like. Fun fact, the gym that was over here, it closed down. Now, I almost get the feeling that there might be something going in here because there is the box right there, that huge dumpster bin, but I'm not sure. Now we're coming back over to the other side of the headquarters. This is on the east end of the property, and over in this area would have been where the Safeway was. To the right would have been like the Cole store and all that. When I say Cole, I don't mean the Cole that most of us think of. I mean the Cole Shopping Center Cole store. Totally different spelling, not a chain. At least I don't think it's a chain. Pretty sure it's was part of the actual Cole Shopping Center thing. But it used to be over here off to the right, and that's all demolished. There's also a restaurant over here for a while, but that is also gone now. So if I turn this way, the restaurant would have stood right in this vicinity. The entryway for the entryway for the loading dock to the Safeway would have been over in this area as well. And of course it would have all interconnected with this alleyway. Nowadays they actually have a sidewalk over here. So they actually have a sidewalk over here that connects up with Pershing and goes all the way down. And of course it goes right along the alleyway there too. It's kind of a pleasant little path, honestly, and I'm glad that they put that in there. But yeah, this is all, it's crazy to think that right now we're driving where all that Cole Shopping Center used to be. Oh man, so crazy. It's crazy to actually think about it. I don't think I've like actively thought about it. Not in a very long time anyway. If ever. I don't know if I've thought about it that much, but it is kind of crazy. So I think the next place on the list is this U-Pump It, and also the Pioneer Printing Building. Also got Payless Shoe Source. So let's go ahead and go over there and see what those places look like now. So the You Pump It gas station, I actually ended up, I think I ended up doing a video of it on the main channel at some point. Definitely on the vault, and I think on the main channel also, if I remember right. It's been a while, I can't remember for sure. But I did a couple of different attempts at recording that video because back then I was a noob. Back then it was actually still much more intact as what it used to look like under You Pump It. These days the sign is still there, I do believe, but the building has been changed to quite a bit. So I'll get you guys over there in a second. Well, I don't know how well you can see the sign there, but here is the sign today. I believe the biggest change is actually the old price banner that obviously is not in the best of shape, but the sign itself is still here. So this side is also still in pretty good shape considering, but also the price tag thing is messed up a little bit. Okay. That messed up my train of thought. As far as I had seen, they were supposed to actually put in a new business here, but I don't know if they ever did that. As far as I know, it's still vacant. I remember it's like during a live stream, they were doing some cleanup along this area, but yeah, I don't know. They put these potted plants in and repainted the line here. I don't know if anything's ever gonna go in here or not. Or if there might actually be something in there, I have no idea. I don't know, there could be something in there. I see some furnishings, but if it is, I have no idea what's there. The You Pump It brand does seem to be kind of going by the wayside. If it hasn't already, it probably will eventually. There was one in Loveland for a long time, but I think they actually rebranded to a different name. So I don't know. I don't know the current status on You Pump It these days. I don't know if this station was always You Pump It either. I have absolutely no idea. Anyway, let's go on to the next place. All right, this here is the building that appeared in that frame. I don't know if it'll come out, but you can actually see the Delta Kappa Gamma annual used book sale banner down there on that pole, that railing right there. This whole building's been replaced. Trophy Creative relocated over here from their old location. I'm not sure if CrossFit Cheyenne had another location before this, but you also had Blacktooth Brewery, which eventually opened up here, and a lot of times they've been parking food trucks out here on the street. So I know Graffiti Cuisine, among others, have been over here before. So many food trucks have been over here before, and I'm sure there will be more in the future. They actually often use this street over here as like a block party a lot of times in the summer, which at that point will be closed off to just pedestrians, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, this building's been completely replaced. It used to be the Pioneer Printing Building, and this is what it looks like now. If you're wondering why there's all the construction equipment going on in the background, it's because they're working on this place called the West End Flats. This is a new apartment complex. I believe the first floor is going to be kind of a parking garage for the facility, and then the upper levels are all like apartments or whatever. I don't know if they're apartments or condos, but whichever one they are, that's what it's going to be. It's definitely going to be a new addition to Cheyenne. We haven't really seen too much of the newer buildings like this, at least not in the downtown area. I know other places like Boulder, the places like this have been popping up like crazy. I don't know how costly this place will be. Hopefully not too crazy outrageous, but we'll have to wait and see. It's bright today. It's sunny, almost no wind. Quite the contrast to about 2 days ago when it was snowing. So crazy. All right, let's go to the next place. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this because of the sun glare, but we're over at the Payless Shoe Source now. This is no longer Payless Shoe Source. It closed a long time ago. Sewing Center of Cheyenne actually ended up moving over here. I don't know if they're open at this time, but maybe we can kind of just peek into the window. so at least you can get a glimpse of what it looks like. I've seen photos inside of there. It does look like a sewing shop, so there is that. Look at that painting they did over here. Check that out. They did a bison. That's cool. Let's see, today's Sunday, and Sunday they are closed, but the lights are on. Oop, that's really good. Just clink the glass. So you can see there's a lot of sewing stuff in there. Definitely different than when it was vacant with nothing inside, nothing left behind from Payless. Aside from the signs, of course. I don't think they ever put a sign. Yeah, they never put a sign up in that upper part. So up there it would have said Payless, and then here it also would have said Payless. Kind of an interesting building. We actually have one other place that isn't in this particular video, but I later ended up filming it after it closed. It was the old FedEx office. It's now replaced by this place called FM Automotive. Figured I'd just throw it in here anyway since we're over here in the area. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Crazy to think that I did a video so long ago of this place when it was vacant. I think I went to this Payless like 1 or 2 times maybe in my life. I didn't go there too much. I think I went to the one at Frontier Mall quite a bit more, but I also can't absolutely remember just because that was so long ago. We're talking over a decade ago, man. All right, here you can see the inside of that Payless shoe source actually. You can see how different it was. About the only thing that was left from Payless was that screen. The light was on, and there might have been some stuff in the back. I couldn't really tell for sure in my video, but you know, it's very different now. All right, so next we have some running clips. We end up going to this little tunnel thing, and then we also end up going down Camp Stool and doing a couple of other things here. And there is also some Taco John's involved on this one. So let's go ahead and continue with this video. I'm going to go ahead and go over to that tunnel, I guess. Something that's worth mentioning is that back at the time when I did this video, I didn't have a driver's license. My bike wasn't like in the best of shape at the time because it hadn't been maintained in quite a while. So I was getting around entirely on foot, by bus, or by being dropped off by other people. And I also had just graduated high school, so I was quite a bit younger then. All right, once again, I don't know if this is gonna appear very well on for you guys because of the glare, but that clip would have been recorded from right here on my tripod, and I of course would have gone along this upper edge here, and then I ended up doing like a top down from right there. Looking over as I went into the tunnel and came back out. All I did was literally go in and come right back out in that particular clip. But I did, at one point, actually go through the tunnel at least a couple times, I think, with actual filming stuff. Of course, back then I sucked, but yeah, it would have been something like this. I don't know how exactly I would have set it up back then, but it would have been right around here. Might have even used this as a guiding line. Let's see. I did it from this corner. Yep, I did it from this corner. That's how I did it. So I don't know if I necessarily went between the two poles like that. Of course, back then when I was doing this, I would have been working on my storytelling skills. So that's part of the reason why I did some of these extra B-roll shots. I'm gonna climb back up this hill, this really steep hill, and go to the next spot. In one of the next clips I recorded, not the next one, but one of the next ones, I ended up doing a clip where I leaned up against a guardrail. I think the idea was I wanted it to look like I was getting ready to watch the train to pass by, but what ended up happening was either A, I didn't get the shot and didn't feel like going back to Camp Stool Road, or B, I didn't like the guardrail on Camp Stool Road. But this specific guardrail that you see me lean up against and cross my legs it's this one right here. It is over here by East High School, specifically next to the stadium, and it's also over here by the golf course. So the guardrail's right along here. You can see the pole that was actually in the background of that clip, and I believe it is like right in this vicinity where I was standing. Maybe a little bit closer to the bushes, just considering the angle, but that's where it was. Over here right next to the, try and deal with the sun here. Over here next to the school and all that. So you see East High School up there on the hill. And over here is actually the stadium. And over here you actually have the new Cary Junior High School, which I did numerous videos of back when they were building it. Now we're actually going to go back just a little bit in the video so I can show you the comparison of the video clips that I got back then of the trains on Campstool Road. Okay, for this next clip, we actually went over here to the intersection of Logan and Campstool. I believe this is also the intersection of 5th and 6th Streets. It's just a little bit off of that. We got the old Wyoming Department of Liquor, I guess, something like that. And right here is the railroad crossing that appeared in that clip. I believe I was just a little bit beyond this sign and bush that you kind of see off to the right here, and I captured that clip of a flatbed going through the railroad crossing. I thought it was a pretty cool clip. I don't know if I've ever specifically featured this crossing on the channel officially, but the Delta Kappa Gamma book sale was actually over here in this building one year, so I think that's part of the reason I came this way, besides just wanting to see what I could get with the trains. The next clips that I got of the trains themselves were actually further down this way, closer to College Drive. By the way, I just drove by the sign. It's the Wyoming Department of Revenue Liquor Division. That's what that building was over there. Anyway. All right, so right there is the College Drive Bridge that goes over Campstool. Here is the railroad track. Unfortunately, there's no trains over here right now. I believe it was not that one, but that yellow post right there is the one that was waving in the wind, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I believe so. It was over in this area where I would have been. I think actually looking at this guardrail right here that's along Campstool, I think the reason I didn't do it was because it wasn't pointed the right way for explaining the story the way I wanted it to. I think I actually was along that little dirt road that's just beyond the guardrail, not the one by the railroad tracks. There's two of them. There's another one just beyond this guardrail that I was walking along in this case, partly because as calm as Campstool can be, I didn't want to be directly next to the road any more than I had to. But yeah, this is the location where those clips were captured of the trains passing by and everything like that. I think I had like a couple more clips that I want to discuss. All right, the next place I would have gone to is the Taco John's over at Pershing and Ridge Road. So that store is actually right here. There are some really, really minor branding changes. So for example, they added the taco onto the facade above the entry door. They also changed this sign out above the window there. But besides really little things like that, it's still largely the same as it was back then. Let me watch here. I think the next thing I did was actually go a little bit this way back over towards where the stadium was. Because, I don't know, for whatever reason, I didn't want to record my video clip of eating potato Olays over here. So what I did instead was actually go over to the stadium over there by East High School and ended up eating outside of there. Here's the clip of the potato Olays sitting on the bench before I ate them. I ended up going over here, like I said, to the stadium. I don't remember exactly which bench I sat on, but it was one of these three benches. And of course I would have sat down and enjoyed them before going back into my room again and continuing with the video. Yeah, besides wrapping up in the video, there's just the outro where I put in some links to other videos. I don't know if that video is even like publicly accessible anymore, but yeah. this was a different time. I think my energy was a lot different back then. I was a little more awkward on camera, and I also found myself kind of amping myself up to be on camera a little bit, so I'd often end up trying to kind of, I don't know if I want to say pep talk myself a little bit, but it's different circumstance, very different compared to what I'm in now. And I don't know if me back then would have imagined having multiple different channels called Optopolis or something similar to that, but that's where it's at nonetheless. So I think about the only thing on that I didn't really ever do a proper video of was the tunnel, and I still want to. I still have footage from back then, although I kind of wouldn't mind remaking it now with what I have now, but I don't know. We'll see. It probably will end up getting put onto Optopolis Extra at this point, because that kind of is the best place for it. But you know, the train stuff, it ended up appearing on Optopolis Extra. A lot of the retail stuff has in some way appeared on the channel since then, or on the Vault, if not on the main channel. I think Taco John's is also kind of the only one where I haven't like explicitly gone out of my way to do a video. I actually was going to do oh wow, there's 2 seagulls over here in the parking lot. I actually was going to do a video of the Taco John's in Fort Collins that was abandoned, but I didn't have enough time to do a proper video, and by the time I got back down and could have done a proper video, they'd already demolished it for new housing. Well, actually a mixed-use building. That whole block actually got torn down. It's kind of interesting. There's like a Firestone, I think it's a Firestone Tires next door to that, and something else. Again, I think we're in very different circumstance at this point. Me back then was also a lot less realistic with my goals, so unfortunately I set a sub goal that was way too low for the purpose of going to a new state back then. So I did Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. Those were the easy ones, but anything after that kind of gets hard. I might be able to hit South Dakota, but you know, getting to more of a major city in that area is nearly impossible without taking a plane or something. Pretty much going anywhere else in the country is hard, so that's where I end up having to postpone the 2000, was it the 2000 sub special? I think it was 2000, right? Because I think 500, 1000, 50, yeah, it's 2000 what I was going for that. And unfortunately, very unrealistic goal in hindsight. Oh well, what can you do? There are some places I do want to revisit in the future, but I don't know how soon that will happen. And there's definitely a number of places throughout the country I wouldn't mind at some point trying to make it to. But of course, maybe that's a topic for another day. I would like to make this series kind of a somewhat frequent thing that I do. So some videos might be focused on 1 or 2 places. Other videos like this one will have a multitude of places that are the focus. I'll figure it out as I go. This is completely new to me. Taking just a tiny bit of inspiration here from a few other tubers, including definitely including and not limited to Adam the Woo and Sal here, and maybe a couple of others. But of course, this is my own take. It's not like a mall log or something, and we're not necessarily going inside of abandoned places necessarily. But anyway, I do want to give a quick shout out to my channel members. It should be listed right in here. They help support Journey, make it just a little bit easier to continue doing these videos, make it easier to maintain the gear, and of course make sure I have music that I can license and all kinds of stuff like that. So if you do want some behind the scenes stuff or anything like that, you can join over on Patreon. Until next time, peace out.